Sonic Mania should be a game that needs little to no introduction. Releasing in 2017 as part of Sonic's 25th anniversary, it was a wonderful love letter to Sonic fans that took the best elements from all the games in the Genesis era of Sonic, creating a simply amazing experience, on top of having tons of references for old fans to relish in. It appeared near the top of many Game of the Year lists of 2017, and many people consider it one of the best Sonic games ever. I want to start this review by saying I, like many people, also love this game. It's simply fantastic. It is one of those games I can just play from start to finish and have a great time with no dips in quality. However, the overuse of nostalgia is something I've become more critical of, and this game's reception has created some overlying problems with the series that I'd like to get into by the end of this review. But for now, let's take a look at Sonic Mania and see if it lives up to the hype, and is still as great as everyone says 4 years later. The story starts with Sonic and Tails visiting Angel Island again, because they picked up a strange reading of powerful energy. When they arrive on the island, they're met with multiple egg robos trying to harness the power of this fancy new gem called the Phantom Ruby. Its powers aren't exactly explained in Sonic Mania, so all we really know is that it's a gem that has the power to transport us through time and space. I'm pretty sure it was elaborated on in Sonic Forces, but to be honest, I really can't remember any of it because I haven't played through that game since 2017, and I'm not in a rush to do it again either. Dr. Robotnik, and yes, I'm calling him that for this video, has also recruited some new baddies to help defeat Sonic this time around. Their names are the Hard-Boiled Heavies. Their designs are like modified egg robos, but I personally think they're really cool. They all have their own bosses, and most of them were pretty good. They also have their own distinct personalities. You have a magician, a gunner, I think, a ninja, one that likes to get dirty with motobugs, and their king. Anyways, after Sonic and Tails learn all this, it becomes their goal to stop Dr. Robotnik and the Hard-Boiled Heavies while going on an adventure through time and space thanks to the likes of Phantom Ruby. The story here, in my opinion, is just decent for reasons I'll get into in a second. I know, it's a classic Sonic game. Who cares? Just give me a minute. I still think Sonic 3's story wins over Mania just because of Knuckles. Sure, the Hard-Boiled Heavies are cool bad guys, but I think the game that introduces one of the most prominent characters in the series, as well as having really badass moments like the Doomsday Zone that Mania doesn't really have, to be superior. The Phantom Ruby's existence does create kind of a minor issue we'll have with this game, and that's how the zone transitions are handled. I didn't really know where to put this in the video, so I'll just put it here since it is kind of relating to the story, but the Phantom Ruby leads to some underwhelming zone transitions in my opinion. I love how Sonic 3 had little cutscenes showing how Sonic and company got to the next zone. This and Act 2 starting at Act 1's goalpost made the journey feel so connected and organic, which I really like. Now in Mania, a good chunk of the zone transitions are just Sonic being teleported somewhere else via the Phantom Ruby, which is pretty disappointing and honestly lazy. The one in Press Garden is probably the worst. Like 5 feet away from the Heavy Shinobi boss fight, Eggman is doing something and just so happens to be carrying the Phantom Ruby with him. Like, no, that's stupid. And the one before Metallic Madness kind of just makes me say like, what? What's even happening here? When the game launched, some zones didn't even have transitions, which was just really weird, honestly. Sure, you could say it was a callback to Sonic 1 and 2's progression, but why omit the objectively better option? The transition between Hydro City and Mirage Saloon was missing at launch, but when they added one for Mania Plus, it still doesn't make a lot of sense. It kinda works in Encore mode since the Sky Chase segment is gone, but in Mania mode, it doesn't make sense how they just got the tornado, especially if you're playing as Tails. Okay, there are some zone transitions I actually thought were kinda cool, like the ones before Flying Battery and Titanic Monarch. Like I said earlier, this really is a nitpick, but it's still an issue I've surprisingly never heard anyone talk about before. Besides this, yeah, the story's alright. In case you haven't noticed, the presentation has had a massive overhaul, and man, this game is really beautiful. The sprite art is so detailed. I love the new sprites everyone's rocking here. I do still think I like the advanced sprites more, but these are all awesome. But if I had to complain, I think Sonic's blue should have been a little darker. Tails' new sprites also look really cool, and the same as for Knuckles. And the new characters like the Hard-Boiled Heavies have really cool designs in my opinion. To complement the amazing work done on the sprite art, this game also has some beautiful level themes, some new and old that I'll get into later. And dude, the animated intro is so beautiful, man. The animation here is just so damn good. I don't think my words are really doing it justice, but that doesn't even matter because it's all self-explanatory. When this opening animation dropped like, what, 5 days before the game came out, I was so hyped for Mania. I remember seeing this and thinking, man, I want a cartoon based on this art style. And what do you know, next year we got the Sonic Mania Adventures YouTube series. These animations are really cool, honestly. I do love how expressive the characters are without dialogue and how it tells a story. And once again, the animation is top tier stuff. Speaking of top tier stuff, I love this game's soundtrack. It's one of my all-time favorites in the entire series. Both the old remix tracks and the new ones kick some serious ass. My ears were having almost as much fun as I was playing the game. The remix tracks like Flying Battery and Hydro City made me want to dance so damn much. And those who watched my Sonic 3 video would know those were some of my favorite tracks. They also managed to inject some life into the Oil Ocean track, which I commented on just being kinda dry in my Sonic 2 review. I also love the Metal Sonic boss theme. The new songs are also simply phenomenal. I was having a stellar time listening to these, ranging from Studiopolis to Titanic Monarch. Even the little ones like the boss theme were such a banger. T. Lopes is such a talented man. He did a phenomenal job with this soundtrack, and I respect your hard work, dude. The game obviously has no vocal tracks. Instead, we have a few songs from Hyper Potions that were used in the opening and all the trailers, and these kick ass. This isn't my favorite Sonic soundtrack, mostly because there are no vocal tracks, but it's definitely in my top 5. Wow, I've spent longer than I expected talking about everything except the gameplay. Let's get into that now, shall we? Sonic obviously controls beautifully here, and he has in these games ever since Sonic 1, so that really isn't a shocker. More importantly, there's a new ability in town called the Drop Dash. By holding the jump button in midair, he can start revving up for a spin dash, and once you'll land, you'll blast off. It's really useful and fun to pull off. It's also great for pulling off on a whim. So yeah, it's a great addition. There is one nitpick, and that's how you can't just have all the abilities equipped at once. In the options menu, you can choose Sonic's ability that he'll have, so Insta-Shield enthusiasts are in luck, as well as the 3 people who actually like the Super Peel Out. You can only have one of the 3 equipped, which never really made a lot of sense to me. Like, they all use different inputs, so it really wouldn't hurt to have all of them at once. I guess it could be because of balancing, since Sonic would have all these plus the elemental shields, but I think the other characters still have their own merits that make them worth playing. At the very least, maybe having all of them at once could be something you unlock, like getting all the Chaos Emeralds on a save file. And yeah, that's right, the other playable characters from Sonic 3 are back. Tails can fly, making him the best candidate for easy exploration, and Knuckles can glide and climb walls, and even access some new paths, as well as entirely new level designs in some cases. Because of the character's inability to use elemental shields, Sonic still has aspects that make him worth playing. And yeah, the elemental shields are also a blast to use, just like in Sonic 3. The electric shield is still my favorite because I love the double jump, but the bubble shield is a close second for me. They still kept the normal shield power up, which just kind of felt weird, since it was removed in Sonic 3 for the objectively better ones. The level design is some top tier stuff as well. It's all high speed momentum based platforming that's a blast to play through. And the expansive stages from Sonic 3 that have tons of goodies to look out for return as well, which makes these levels also fun to play. Like I said on my Sonic 3 video, I love exploring in these games because of how fun the platforming is in general. Plus, the game does a great job rewarding your curiosity, like with the elemental shields, the big rings, as well as the new power-up monitor in town, the Combine Ring. I guess that's what it's called. This blue ring capsule will make collecting rings after taking damage a hell of a lot easier by combining your rings into bigger chunks to give you large fractions of your fallen rings back when you pick them up. If you play your cards right, you may even be able to collect 100 rings to get another extra life back, which is really cool. I'm still discovering new pathways in these levels, which is really impressive, considering how much I've played Sonic Mania. But to be fair, the same can be said for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. There really isn't a single stinker in the 12 total zones this game has. They're not all my favorites or anything. There are some I don't particularly want to go back and play, but I struggle to call any of them bad. Like, yeah, even Sonic 3 had one semi-low point in the form of Sandopolis, since it's just kind of boring and drags on for a while. But while I may not enjoy all of them equally, I still really get a kick out of the zones in Sonic Mania. It's no secret that Sonic Mania is filled to the brim with fan service and references to other games in the franchise. The most obvious callback in this game is the zones themselves. Out of the total 12 levels, 8 of them are reused from old Genesis games. I'm sorry, but could you not have at least made half of them original? This really is my biggest issue with Sonic Mania, its lack of originality. Considering how we already had Generations 6 years before this game, it just makes me sick of reusing Sonic's past. Also, I'd argue seeing zones return in Generations was a lot more fun, since we get the benefit of playing classic zones with the boost formula and vice versa. Here in Sonic Mania, it's just zones from 2D games, but we get to play them again. They do manage to bring some new life into the returning zones with gimmicks and such, like the bouncy slime and chemical plant and the bubbles and hydrosity, but that's really it. Taking a look at the returning zones, we start with Green Hill and Chemical Plant. Green Hill is easily the most iconic stage, and Chemical Plant is definitely up there as well. I know, a lot of people are sick of seeing these stages, myself included, but really, what could have been a better start to this game? Green Hill established exactly what Sonic's gameplay was like and how exploration works. Chemical Plant was the most exhilarating zone from Sonic 2, with speeds never seen before in the series, so I think these two were overall great picks. Next up is Flying Battery, and yeah, I also love this zone. It was one of my favorites from Sonic 3 due to the aesthetics, soundtrack, and fun level design, and all of this still remains true. And god, I love the music here even more. It's just so good! Stardust Speedway was brought back to represent Sonic CD, and while the zone isn't really one of my favorites in the game, I can definitely say it was the best pick in terms of Sonic CD zones. The Metal Sonic fight is also a lot better. I will admit the race in Sonic CD was a bit cheap and unfair, but I can't appreciate that fight for the theming alone. After that level, we have Hydrosity, and yeah, if they had to bring back a water level, this was clearly the best pick. You can really just avoid the water by taking the upper paths and being careful. And the water is still fun since the bubble gimmick actually enhances Sonic's moveset, which is really what a water level should do, not just make the game slower. Next up in line is Oil Ocean? Who the hell asked for this zone to come back? No, seriously, who did? I said in my Sonic 2 video that Oil Ocean was easily the most forgettable zone because it's painfully average and bland. This zone definitely isn't one of my favorites, but I don't think it's bad either. Like I said earlier, even the soundtrack has a lot more life added into it, and the level design is more fun, but not enough to make me really care for the zone at all. The only reason I can think of as to why they added it was to try and prove they can make mediocre zones a lot better, which I guess they succeeded at, but I would have just rathered a different zone be brought back, or, you know, an actual new zone. Lava Reef is a pretty cool zone. It was pretty good in Sonic 3, not one of my favorites, but I liked it, so I don't mind it coming back. It was a good pick considering how this zone, or well, the Hidden Palace portion, was home to the Knuckles boss fight in the moment he joined your team, which is referenced in the boss fight as Knuckles for this zone, which is actually completely different than Sonic's. The last reuse zone is Metallic Madness, which is okay. Like a lot of Sonic CD zones, it was just alright, nothing really that notable. It did have Chibi Sonic, which is probably the only reason it was brought back, but frankly, I would have liked you to see a different level, like maybe Starlight Zone, or even better, an actual new level. Be careful where you say that, it could seriously scare Sega, they hate originality. So yeah, some of the returning zones were pleasant, but there were a few that I didn't exactly like to see return. Now let's take a look at the new zone, starting with Studiopolis. This was probably the zone shown most in trailers, and it was for good reason. The aesthetic of a TV studio is really cool, and the music is seriously awesome. It has some really cool set pieces, and it's just a blast to play through. Press Garden takes place in a printing factory, which sounds really weird, but trust me, this zone is just really fun. Then once you get to Act 2, it takes the role of being an ice level with this beautiful winter wonderland with Japanese-style cherry blossom trees. It has some phenomenal music, and just like Act 1, it's really fun to play through. Like, what else do you want me to say? The third original zone is Mirage Saloon, and man, this zone looks so cool in the trailers, since it was kind of like the scrap Desert Dazzle zone from Sonic CD Remaster, which was also a callback to Sonic 2's development, but man, they had to fuck it up. You know there was a reason Act 1 of Mirage Saloon was seldom showed in all the pre-release trailers, and that's because it's just fucking Sky Chase again. This was seriously one of the worst places to have Sky Chase. Like, why in one of the new zones? Why in one of the best looking zones in the entire game? Why would you put Sky Chase here? As I said for Sonic 2, it really isn't bad gameplay wise, it's just boring. I can appreciate the moment in Sonic 2 because of the story implications, but here, no, it's just play Sky Chase again. I like the portion of the level on the train, and the boss fight is just okay, and Act 2 is genuinely one of the best levels in the entire game. It has everything, really fun level design, secrets to find, beautiful visuals, and really nice music to accompany it. I know, I can't just play as Knuckles to get a real level from Mirage Saloon Act 1, or just play Encore mode, but guess what? I want to play a Sonic Mania mode. Look, if they just had to include a Sky Chase minigame, easily the best time to include it would have been between Lava Reef and Metallic Madness. Let me explain. First of all, it would give Lava Reef an actual zone transition that makes sense rather than whatever the hell this is. It would also provide a fresh take on the Sky Chase scenario by taking place during the middle of the night. Also, Sonic and Tails riding on the biplane and get to the last two factory-like stages easily makes the most sense. And I must clarify, this Sky Chase segment should not take up any acts of Metallic Madness. It should just be a little minigame like it was in Sonic 2. Or, for another idea, maybe they could just scrap Metallic Madness and have another new stage, kinda like the Egg Fleet from Sonic Heroes, where you're in the night sky going through lots of Eggman's bases. The last zone, as well as the last original zone, is Titanic Monarch, and I think this zone is really fun. It isn't that difficult for better or for worse, but I just think it's a fun stage with good aesthetics. If you collect all the Chaos Emeralds, and don't worry, I will talk about those in a minute, you get access to the final boss, the Egg Reverie. The story context behind this boss is that Robotnik has teleported you to this place with the Phantom Ruby, where time is all messed up, and him and the Heavy King are fighting over the control for the Phantom Ruby, which is really cool. You get to blast through them with Supersonic, and overall it's a good final boss. It's a shame it isn't anywhere near as badass as the endings of Sonic 2 or 3, and that ending cutscene is kinda underwhelming because it's barely an animation, and it leads to... So overall, all of the original zones are great with the exception of Mirage Saloon's Sky Chase since they had to mess it up. If Mirage Saloon was a completely normal zone in the main campaign, I could say it was my favorite zone in the entirety of Mania. Yes, I'm serious. How good the new stuff is just makes me more disappointed that we got 2/3 of all the zones coming back from old games. Seriously, they really could have fucked off with Oil Ocean and Metallic Madness. I ensure you no one wanted those zones back. No offense, by the way. Most of them are good picks, but the few that aren't makes me wish there was just more actual original stuff. I get it, it's an anniversary title, but we already had Generation, which represents the entire series. Not just the classic games that are the only good ones, according to the same IGN reviewers that would give games like Sonic Adventure 2 good scores. Mania also has a lot of fan service besides just returning zones, like references to other things related to Sonic. Considering how critical I've been in this video, and trust me, I'll be a lot more aggressive towards the end, you must think I hated seeing the likes of Bean the Dynamite and Bark the Polar Bear show up, but no, they're fine. Most of these can defend and just say they were neat callbacks, there's also some fan service in the special stages. And yes, we can finally start talking about the gameplay again. Sonic Mania retains the big rings from Sonic 3, and as I said in that video, is genuinely a perfect way to access special stages. These levels are already super rich of goodies to find. Combine that with fun special stages, this formula is perfect. This time around, the special stages are these looping obstacle courses, where you have to collect rings to increase your timer and blue spheres to pick up speed, as you chase down the UFO containing the Chaos Emerald. The visuals also call back to the low poly models of Sonic R, which I honestly think is really interesting, since you don't see callbacks to these PS1 graphics often, because these graphics probably aged the worst, since it was when we were just getting used to 3D graphics in video games. These special stages are honestly really fun, and I like the risk-reward dynamic between choosing to prioritize collecting rings or spheres. Honestly, I think I enjoyed these more than Blue Sphere. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Blue Sphere, which makes me really happy to see it return as a bonus stage, which is awesome by the way, but I just think these are a little more fun. Supersonic is just as he was before, but no Hypersonic. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is still his only appearance. Now, I've talked about pretty much everything I wanted to involving the base game of Sonic Mania. Before I get into my overlying problems with this game, I'd like to discuss the add-on to Sonic Mania released in 2018, Sonic Mania Plus. This included some minor tweaks like new zone transitions in a physical release, finally, but they also sold a DLC pack for $5 called the Encore DLC, so let's talk about that. The most notable feature of Sonic Mania Plus was how it brought back two forgotten characters that I've not seen in appearance since the 90s, Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel. I guess this was the next natural step after bringing back Bark, Bean, and Fang. Both of these characters bring their own unique abilities to the table. Ray has the ability to fly like Tails, but it handles just like the Cape Feather from Mario World, and well, I love that power-up, so flying as Ray is really fun. I love soaring through levels at really high speed to the sky. Mighty is just okay, to be honest. He can do this thing that's kinda like a ground pound to essentially destroy surfaces, and he can also resist spikes sometimes since he is pretty strong. These abilities can be useful, but I don't know, I just feel like other characters have more worth to them, so I can definitely say Ray is the better of the two new characters. The DLC also comes with a brand new mode called Encore Mode that's like an altered version of the main campaign. Don't get your hopes up though, since it's nothing special. The only hint of new content is in this short segment of Angel Island. And even calling that original would be a bit of a stretch, since its level design is ripped right from Act 1 in Sonic 3. The main feature of Encore Mode is how they ditched the live system, and instead has this constantly changing party of characters with you. You can only swap between the first two characters in your lineup, and to get more you'll have to bust open corresponding monitors with the characters on them. If you have a full lineup, then the monitors will just swap a random character. I think this idea is pretty neat, since the constantly changing roster brings fresh abilities and ways to traverse the level. I'm not really sure if this was meant to be the harder mode or not, since I guess you could say it puts an emphasis on survival if the lives are gone, but it's not like Mania mode was challenging to begin with, and the level designs are virtually the same. The color palettes of the zones have also seen some altering since they all look kinda different now. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm not much of a fan of most of the new zone themes. Some are pretty jarring, like seeing Oil Ocean during the day, which is fine, but the ones like Flying Battery and Studiopolis are just plain ugly, to be frank. I appreciate the variety, but at least make them look nice. This is mostly a harmless change, but the fact that I prefer the color palettes in Mania mode for pretty much every one just makes me play that mode more. I kinda wish you could just turn these off, since I really get a kick out of the party system. The big rings have been placed in completely different locations, so have fun memorizing those because I still haven't. And the special stages are also completely different. It feels like they just continue where Mania mode left off, as if it consisted of special stages 8 through 14, which means they're a lot harder. When I can actually find these special stages, I usually have a lot of fun with them, since I already enjoy the mechanics of them to begin with, and the challenge is welcome. No egg reverie at the end though, so I usually don't try and go after all of them. The bonus stages have also turned to this pinball table where you can instead score things like power-ups, elemental shields, or even another character in the party. This is pretty cool since you can get some goodies from them. Overall, that's all there is to Encore Mode, and in general, Sonic Mania Plus. This DLC is priced at $5, which is a good price. Honestly, if you want to buy it, go ahead since it's only $5, and you can definitely make worse choices with your money. Personally, I just play Mania Mode most of the time since I get the original zone color palettes, but I do enjoy everything else Encore Mode has. Now, that's all there really is to talk about regarding Sonic Mania, as well as its DLC from 2018. And what else can I say really? The game is great. It retains the stellar level design from Sonic 3, as well as the special stages being even more fun. The presentation and sound design are just beautiful. The story is pretty good overall, but my biggest issue with this game is just its over-reliance on nostalgia. We already had generations to fulfill that classic love, and I know this doesn't really fulfill that love, but we had Sonic 4, even if those games sucked ass. I just feel bad giving this game all of this love like everyone else does, because so much of it is borrowed from its predecessors, you know? Sonic 1, 2, CD, and 3 all walked so Sonic Mania could run, and this game's lack of originality just makes me prefer Sonic 3 and Knuckles, since that game had an all-original level lineup and narrative. Sonic Mania has mostly reused zones, some being disappointing, and the story is somewhat original, even with the gang just being teleported from one nostalgic place to the next. But I'm tired of seeing nostalgia this, nostalgia that everywhere in this franchise. Sonic Generations actually remade old levels from the entire series, not just the ones from the 2D games. And like I said earlier, zones appearing in Generation is way more exciting, since for the originally 2D zones you can now play them in 3D and vice versa. On top of that, the only time this was really tried before was Sonic 4, which is just straight up reused zone themes to a T. The issue with it in Sonic 4 is that it's calling itself a sequel to Sonic 3, which had original shit, and on top of that, Episode 1 had less content than Sonic 1 from 1991. Sonic Mania had a smaller variety to choose from, and it doesn't come with the perk of playing these zones in a new formula. Like, yeah, they added new gimmicks and stuff, but that's really it. And the fact we got Sonic 4, Generations, Lost World, and now the announcement of classic Sonic being enforced has made it feel that much more repetitive. So even if I enjoy the game itself, I do not enjoy what it represents for the series. The best way I can describe Sonic nowadays is just afraid to do anything new. 2010 gave us the first part of Sonic 4, which is hot garbage, combining awful physics, blatant reused zone themes, and barely any content to make a really bad follow-up to Sonic 3. That same year also had Sonic Colors, which is a great title gameplay-wise, but marked the beginning of a drought in genuine Sonic stories that tried. It took the actual serious writing and big cast of characters and flipped it on its head, with Sonic, Tails, Eggman, and his robots being the only actual characters. And the writing only appeals to 7-year-olds who start laughing at the words fart and butt. People criticize the writing of 06, and that game tried with its story, and it featured a large cast of characters. So instead of having those elements and making something good out of it, they just threw it all out the window. It's like they think they make good games out of sheer luck or something. 2011 has Sonic Generations that I think is even better than Sonic Colors, even if the story is arguably worse. But I can excuse this over-reliance on nostalgia because of the two different gameplay styles, and the fact that it was actually a fresh idea at the time. 2013 had Sonic Lost World, which was a very mixed bag in the community, and even if I haven't played it for myself, I still don't know a lot about it, including its awful story and zone themes already kind of calling back to old zones like Green Hill, and the rest of the zone themes just feel like they belong in a Mario game. 2014 through 2016 were painful because all we got in terms of releases were the boom games, and no one was even willing to give the 3DS games a shot because of the impact of Rise of Lyric. Seriously, how do they fuck it up again? 2017 brought us two games to represent the series' 25th anniversary, including Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces. Sonic Mania was, well, just as I described in this video. It fully embraced Sonic's Genesis days for a fun and nostalgic game that everyone loved. Then, just a few months later, we had Sonic Forces, which was a major disappointment. For everything it tried, it just failed at. And it even tried relying on classic Sonic for people to get excited, which was the textbook definition of force, since he added nothing to the game. And just his existence being useless makes the game worse. On top of that, we were seeing Green Hill and Chemical Plant again, for fuck's sake. 2018 had Sonic Mania Plus, which is okay. I mean, the add-on is fine, but this and the Sonic Mania YouTube short just make it super obvious all they cared about was milking Sonic Mania, which milked the good old days. 2019 had a damn racing game that I bet you didn't even remember before I just brought it up, since seriously, it was just so forgettable. And the announcement of the Sonic movie was such a fucking laughingstock due to his design. In terms of games, 2020 was completely vacant, and 2021 marked the series' 30th anniversary, which is a big deal, since not only is it an anniversary, but at that point, there was a serious drought in Sonic games, so a lot of people had high expectations. And it was said that 2021 would be the next big year of Sonic. What we got out of that presentation was the announcement of Sonic Origins, Sonic Colors Ultimate and the animated shorts, as well as a teaser trailer for Project Sonic 2022, which showed literally nothing about the game besides just telling us it exists. Sonic Origins will probably just be another mediocre collection with nothing special, honestly, because Sonic Colors Ultimate made me lose hope in their ability to remaster/port games. Like, yeah, we're getting the definitive mobile version on consoles, but it's still the same old games we know and probably love. And I'm sorry, but getting more stuff celebrating Sonic Colors, a game that's 11 years old now, rather than something new, is pathetic. And it just shows they have to rely on things from the past we'd like to be successful. And even saying successful would be stretching things. Look, I said in my Sonic Colors Ultimate review that I still really enjoy my time with the game since all the little glitches and changes are minor for the most part, and it's still good old Sonic Colors, which I love. And while I definitely am more critical of the game now, that still kind of stays true. But I know I'm definitely in the minority there. People took a lot of issues with how incompetent that remaster was, and even questioned if it was deserving of the title Ultimate. Even if I personally enjoyed it, I can say it's very unpolished, so it's really hard to recommend over the original Wii version, whether you're playing on authentic hardware or using Dolphin Emulator. This is making me lose hope for the Sonic Origins collection, since that game definitely has potential. It can be the next Sonic Mega Collection for new generations even if we have the internet. Look, I don't care, just having a collection of those titles would be awesome to have another perfect entry point for the series like Mega Collection was. And considering how we got a trailer literally only confirming the next project's existence, as well as the fact that nothing new at all has been been disclosed since the live stream really has me worried for his future, and instead favoring the past reinforces the idea that they're afraid to do anything new for fuck's sake. I know they're anniversary titles, but you know what games are also considered anniversary titles? Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic 06. Don't see a lot of nostalgia in those games now, do you? The series has really had a drought with releases, and mediocre releases at that. I know, games are becoming more expensive and take longer to develop, but this rate is really lacking compared to what we got in the 2000s, and those games are arguably better, including some of the ones in the so-called dark era of Sonic. I've really lost a lot of hope for Project Sonic 2022 because, well, from the looks of it, they aren't milking nostalgia like they have been for the last 10 years. But aside from that, the series has been lacking in the gameplay department, with a few exceptions, and its stories barely try, and when they do, it just sucks because of how silly it feels. They gave up on making compelling stories a long time ago, since they tried that with Sonic Unleashed, Sonic 06, and Sonic and the Black Knight, but of course, those games suck, so they can't possibly try something like that ever again. The reception of Unleashed and Black Knight really pisses me off, honestly, since nowadays more people are admitting their love for them, especially Sonic Unleashed, and during the times they were released, people would laugh at it anyway, since after 06, people were doing anything they can to say Sonic was never good, and this continues today with fat asses on the internet saying, oh, the only good games are the Genesis games, and Sonic Mania was also good, oh, Sonic Adventure has funny cutscenes, blah blah blah. It's fine to have opinions, but a lot of these kinds of criticisms are just really unfair in my eyes. Even if the story wasn't just a comedy show, it would still just suck ass from being severely disappointing by fucking up every great opportunity they had, or just sucking in general. I said this in my Sonic Colors video and I'll say it again. There's nothing wrong at all with Sonic games trying in their narratives. I know he's a speedy blue hedgehog, but that doesn't mean he has to be self-aware and unfunny at all. It's fiction, of course. A 3-foot blue hedgehog that runs fast and eats chili dogs isn't believable. Why does it have to be? Why can't these games take themselves seriously? These games used to try in their stories. I loved the narratives in the adventure games because of the effort they put into it. And even with games like Unleashed and Black Knight that actually have a pretty good story, the majority of people hated those games when they were released. So they can't try anything like that ever again, right? Sonic Forces really embodies this, since the idea of a post-apocalyptic Sonic story is really cool, and his friends having to do the work to save the world is really interesting, but they just fucked up every great opportunity they had. Like, Tails, buddy, what happened to how capable you were in Adventure 2? In your arc about learning to step out of Sonic's shadow in Adventure 1. Now you have to cower in fear over Chaos Zero when you could sweep the floor with Chaos 4 before your arc really even began. Not to mention the few times where you went head to head with Eggman. Like I said, having stories in Sonic games is only a bad thing if the stories you're writing just sucks, and nowadays, yeah, they do. You have to try, Sonic Team. Why do I need to be explaining this? People like Sonic Colors when it was released because of the idea that it didn't have a story, and all the Dark Era games had one, so that's obviously a good thing, right? And now they're just using Sonic's past to get people to like him, with Sonic Mania, Sonic Origins, Sonic Colors Ultimate, and the animations for that, as well as classic Sonic's appearance in Sonic Forces. Like, for fuck's sake, I'm tired of seeing classic Sonic. Just do something new that's good in its own right. That's what y'all used to do. What happened to that? And the fact that classic Sonic is his own separate character now is really dumb. He should have just been a one-time thing in Generations. Nowadays, the Sonic brand barely takes itself seriously, and it drives me up the fucking wall. Instead of trying to make something good, they just make fun of themselves for being bad.
My ultimate day would consist of a nice 2 handfuls of coffee beans in the morning, followed by a playthrough of the world's greatest video game, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric?
Get it? Cause like the game is bad, but like we're saying it's good, but like it's actually bad, so it's funny. Do you get it? Do you get the joke? Fuck! And if you ever dare to call out how fucking annoying it is, they just say something like, oh, Sonic is just for kids. You're so childish for wanting them to take themselves seriously. When they actually tried, they had some really good products as a result. Now it's just, haha, Sonic had some kinda bad games. Let's remind everyone of that. Do something fucking new, dude. It's like Sega is forgetting what made Sonic so special to begin with. He had the balls to step up and compete against Mario during a time where he was the king of the video game industry. And unlike Mario, who had a cardboard box for a personality, Sonic was an actual character, who was portrayed as being so cool and so rebellious. He would have taken no for an answer and did what he wanted. His unique take on the platformer genre, and his stories featuring an expansive world helped him stand out and be distinctive. Now all Sonic does is just crack jokes and be unfunny. His cockiness was part of his personality, but he still had a good heart and could be down to earth at times. His portrayal in games and other media nowadays really isn't like that anymore, which sucks. Sonic games used to have good stories. Nowadays, Sonic is merely just a social media presence behind mediocre games. I hear people saying that Sonic is in such a great place now and he's recovered from rock bottom, because instead of making bad games, they just don't make any new games. And when they do, they're bad. Oh, but it's obviously okay. He isn't kissing humans in his new games, which means this game where you run in a straight fucking line holding one single button for 3 hours is good. I mean, who cares if it doesn't put out any good games anymore? Sonic is just for kids. You're such a child for wanting more out of this series. Yeah, he was always for kids. The only good Sonic games were the Genesis games and Sonic Mania, of course. Those games didn't have dark and edgy writing. They didn't take themselves seriously. Sonic Adventure had funny cutscenes. This game from 1998 had bad cutscenes. It's terrible. Sonic had a rocky transition into 3D because there are multiple characters. Sonic Adventure was never good. Sonic was never good, actually. What, this game has a story with serious stakes and character development? This is stupid. Why isn't it like the best Sonic story, Sonic Colors, featuring hilarious jokes such as the time he said copyright? Sonic was never good after 1994 with the exception of Sonic Mania, of course. Oh, but who cares if the games are bad? They make funny jokes about Original the character and Big the Cat on social media. Oh, and don't forget the animations on YouTube. Yeah, that's all that matters. Sonic is in such a great place now. I'm sick of this current era of Sonic, and I really hope Sonic Frontiers can resolve this, even if my hopes aren't very high. The stories are just generally bad, and forget what made Sonic stand out in the first place. And they always rely on the good old days over and over again, which I'm sick of. Yeah, we've gotten some pretty damn good games out of it, but it lacks an identity. People really need to stop saying we need a Sonic Mania 2. I'm fine with another 2D game, but please, for the love of God, it needs to have entirely new ideas. We just need another 2D Sonic game, not specifically Sonic Mania 2. We also need Sonic games with actual narratives. I mostly buy games for gameplay, and I'm sure most other people do that as well, but games do have potential to tell great stories, and I wish Sonic games would start doing that again like they used to. So overall, I still like Sonic, but I despise what this franchise has become today, for all the issues I just went into in this long rant. Yeah, remember when this video was just a review of Sonic Mania? I still enjoy playing Mania a lot, but I hate what it represents for the series, since it feeds into the mindset that Sega has to use nostalgia over and over again for success, since there are only 2 games that were generally acclaimed in the last 10 years were Sonic Generations and Sonic Mania, which were all about nostalgia. And on top of having mediocre games most of the time, there's a serious drought in new content which sucks. Sonic Forces was the last mainline entry in late 2017, and it's already late 2021, and we seriously haven't gotten any official news or trailers about the game besides its name likely being Sonic Frontiers, and it was announced in late May. And they could even show actual gameplay of Sonic Origins. They just showed original Sonic 3 and had to clarify on Twitter it would be in widescreen. Yeah, we did have Sonic Colors Ultimate, but that really did more harm than good since it was just a remaster and a bad one at that. Y'all really need to stop releasing unfinished products. Yeah, the games representing the 25th anniversary were both pushed back to 2017, which is not his 25th anniversary year, but at least we got actual footage of Sonic Mania, and a cinematic trailer that showed the theme of Sonic Forces. The Sonic Frontiers trailer showed nothing besides this weird symbol. So I want to conclude this video by saying, Sonic, I miss you, dude. I have really fond memories from my childhood of playing games like Sonic 1, 2, 3, CD, Adventures 1 and 2, and a bunch of other games. And for most of those games I loved playing when I was a kid, I can still get enjoyment out of. Some more than others, of course. I can tell you this mindset I've shared definitely isn't original, since I've heard tons of others that are sick of the current state of this franchise too. So while my hopes are realistically low, I hope Sonic Frontiers, or whatever it may be called, and just be a game I can enjoy, that doesn't rely on fan service and nostalgia all the time. Thanks for watching.